On the menu tomorrow is an elk burger grilled up on the Weber kettle. Yes, I said tomorrow because today, the day before tomorrow, funny how that works out, I have to make the sauce that's going to go on this elk burger. And this is going to be a blueberry barbecue sauce. Now, if you've ever had elk, venison, any of those sort of meats, you probably know that fruits go really well with those. I've had some great, what was called New Zealand red deer with a berry glaze on it, which was amazing. And so this blueberry barbecue sauce is going to be great with this elk burger. So I have my saucepan on my induction burner here, and I'm just going to start getting all the ingredients in because they're all going in together. We're starting with 2.5 cups of frozen blueberries. You could use fresh if you want, but frozen is very convenient and a lot easier to get in my area at this time of year. Next, I'm adding 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 cup of water, 1/2 cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of ground black pepper, 2 teaspoons of limoncello, which is a lemon liqueur, 3/4 cup of ketchup, finally a tablespoon of molasses. Let's give everybody a stir in here before we turn this on. Now I'm going to turn the power on here. We want to get it up to kind of a low boil before we reduce it to a simmer. All right, we're starting to bubble here. I want to make sure we keep stirring this when it does start to bubble and boil. A lot of sugar in there. We don't want it to burn. And as those blueberries soften, we're going to smash them, get everybody sort of mushed up in there. All right, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and reduce the temperature on this so that we can get the simmer down a little bit. Make sure we stir. Even as it's simmering, you want to stir this every minute or two and sort of slowly start crushing those blueberries in there. All right, we've been simmering here and stirring for about 15 minutes. And at this point, if you wanted to, you could let this cool down, run it through a blender or a food processor to really sort of smooth it out and get rid of those chunks. You could strain it through sort of a, not a fine mesh strainer, but a wide mesh strainer to get any of the blueberry skins out. Or you can do just what I'm doing and leave it like this, because that's the way I want it when I'm topping this elk burger tomorrow. So I'm just going to turn this off, let it cool down, and then it's going to go in the refrigerator until we finish our elk burger tomorrow. It is burger day. Our blueberry barbecue sauce has been in the refrigerator overnight, just sort of getting all those flavors melded together. It's going to go perfect on this elk burger today. So let's get started on making that. So what I have here is a pound of ground elk meat. It's all natural, it's hormone free, and if you've had elk or deer, things like that, it has great flavor, but it tends to be a little leaner. You can see there is some good fat in here, but what I want to do is I want to add a little more flavor on the inside here with a little bit of additional fat. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to add a 1/4 cup of finely chopped marinated artichoke hearts. These have been marinated in some oil, so they do have a little bit of that fat on them. Going to get in here and mix everybody together. And if you got a few pieces of that artichoke heart poking out, not a problem. All right, that's what I'm looking for. Let's go ahead and form some burgers. So what I have here is my 5-inch ring mold, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take half of the ground elk, put it in here, and we're going to make a 1/2 pound patty. The other half, I'm going to save for later. So we're just going to get it in here, form it up to the edges. Not trying to really compress it, just want to get it so it fills this mold. And we want sort of an even thickness all the way across. Just like that. Now we're going to season the outside. Now for seasoning, I'm using a mixture of ground black pepper, kosher salt, and granulated garlic. It's basically 2 parts ground black pepper, 1 part kosher salt, 1 part granulated garlic. So for this mixture, which I'm not going to use all of, I use 2 tablespoons of ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of granulated garlic. I'm going to get a good dusting on the outside here. If this was more of a cracked black pepper, we'd be almost doing a pepper crust here. Turn our burger over. Get all those nice pieces of artichoke heart there. All right, that's looking good. Let's get it out to the Weber kettle. All right, we're gonna go ahead and toast up our brioche bun. It's lightly buttered. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get the bun off. We're gonna move on to our burger. It's elk burger time. I'm gonna let this go for a couple minutes on this side. We'll turn it. I wanna get a good sear, a good crust on there. Cast iron really helps with that. My ultimate finished internal temperature with this is gonna be between 145 and 150, somewhere in that range. I don't wanna cook it quite as much as a regular hamburger. Elk tends to do better a little bit closer to medium. Some people even like it medium rare. Let's go ahead and give us a turn. Looking good. I'm gonna go ahead and give this another turn. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and move my elk burger indirect now. Let me get a quick baseline temperature here. Looks like we're at 106, 105. So I'm gonna go ahead and put our lid on. We'll check this in about 5 minutes. My vents are fully open, top and bottom. All right, we've been going 5 minutes. Let's check our elk burger. 128, 129. I'm probably gonna pull it at 140 because the carryover will get me to 145. So we got about 10 degrees to go. I'm gonna give it about 3 more minutes. All right, let's check our elk burger and see if we are at that 140 that I'm shooting for. 142, 143. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this off, get it inside. We're gonna build our elk burger. All right, we have our toasted brioche bun here. I'm just gonna go ahead and get our elk patty on there. That's a sizable boy. Next, I wanna put some of that blueberry BBQ sauce that we made last night. I mean, it really does look almost like blueberry jam, but if you taste it, it has that barbecue sauce sort of, background flavor. The tomatoes are in there. You just get a nice sweetness. A little bit drip here if we want. Get on the edges. Next, I've got some thinly sliced red onions. These aren't cooked or anything, they're raw. I want some of that bite, that crunch from these. Finally, some blue cheese crumbles on top. This has some nice saltiness to it. You don't have to add any more salt on top of this burger or anything. Let's get these nice crumbles in there. Some of them fall inside, so what? There we go. All we have to do is top this with the other half of the bun, and we will have our grilled elk burger, and that means it's time to taste. All right, here is our elk burger. I didn't cut it in half, didn't do anything like that. I just want to sort of dive in whole here. Let's see how I did. Wow. Now there may be blueberry all over my face. I don't know, and I don't really care. This is really good. It's actually been, 5 or 6 years since I've had an elk burger, and I gotta say, I've really forgotten how good this ground meat can be. I really do like those marinated artichoke hearts inside with the meat. A little bit of extra flavor there, but it doesn't really compete with the elk. It's really just a nice little addition. I'm also really glad I didn't go with any sort of melted cheese on this, like a pepper jack or a cheddar or something. Just those blue cheese crumbles. Again, I didn't want to mask the flavor of the elk here. Want to just give some extra texture, a little bit of extra flavor, some salt from that cheese. Perfect on this. Again, you need to cook this to what you want it to be cooked to, the doneness level you want, that you feel good about, safe about. I like mine a little bit more on that medium rare side. Don't want to dry it out. Elk doesn't have quite as much fat as ground beef. Same thing with venison, and just terrific flavor when you don't overcook it. So if you're a fan of elk or deer, or maybe even if you're not, you've never tried them, and you get a chance to get some ground elk meat, by all means, give it a shot. Make a burger that you can add some simple ingredients to, some simple toppings to give you a really great meal. Even if you get blueberry barbecue sauce all over yourself.